Hey, what's up YouTube? We're going to get started with our Marvel Rivals tier list. This is the first tier list that I've made for the game. Right now, just to show you, I am, hold on one second, bear with me here. I am Silver 3 for ranking in competitive. I have 12.7 hours played. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. But I will also show you a good resource for information on heroes and also another tier list that should be quite objective. It's therivalstracker.com. So just head there. They have all the stats, win rate, power for their own ranking for the heroes. So just check that out if you actually want an objective tier list that uses a compilation of data. But otherwise, we're going to get into our personal subjective tier list. And one quick note before we start the tier list, I want to make sure that everyone is aware this is a subjective tier list. This is my opinion with just under 13 hours in competitive played and a ranking of Silver 3. I will be trying to keep a rough normal distribution, Gaussian curve. So we're going to have most fall into B, some fall into A and C, and then very few fall into S and D. Let's start with Adam Warlock. So let's get to him. Bring up the abilities. Your ultimate, you give the ability to revive teammates, and they also gain a short period of invincibility. You have Soul Bond with your shift ability. It's a little hot, heal over time. And it also splits damage. E, you get double stack for your chain heal, and then you can charge up your basic attack with your right click. He's pretty fun. Seems to lack burst healing and consistent healing. He can be easily focused. He has low mobility, so there's use cases, and he's pretty fun. But overall power, he's not crazy. I'm gonna put him in B. Next, you have Black Panther. It's 4-star difficulty, mainly because you have to dive, and he's mostly melee. So your Q, your ultimate, you have Summon Bast, deals damage. It's the Panther astral attack. And then your shift is movement and damage. Then your E is your spiraling kick. You can also use that for damage, and you can steer it. But you can't aim it up or down, so it's a straight y-axis shot. In space, you can climb up walls or terrain and double jump off of them. Spear toss is nice, gives you some range, some AoE. And then your passive, deal damage when you're at low health. You deal extra damage. So he's fun, awesome mobility, good burst. You can prio targets, decent 1v1. I like his kit a lot. It's pretty unique. Cool animations. It's fun. So we are going to put him A tier for Black Panther. Next is Black Widow, also 4-star difficulty in game. To be honest, I have not played a single match as Black Widow, whether it be competitive or quick match. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with her. I haven't played a whole lot against her either. But the alt, you have Red Rifle Plasma, slows. You have a dash with a leap, spinning kick to launch enemies up. So you have a little bit of CC. Obviously, she's ranged with her rifle. Overall, not a super unique kit. Nothing too crazy here. I have no desire to play her. So I'm going to put her in C. If you go to the Marvel Rivals tier list, also, she is dead last. So her stats and her data prove out that I think the community as a whole is recognizing that she's not very strong. Hit, power, she is actually going to go into the bottom tier. So next is Hulk. So I have played Hulk a decent amount. You have to transform with your Q into Hulk form. When you're in Bruce Banner form, you're obviously very vulnerable, very weak. You have your normal ray gun attack, and you can throw your shift gamma grenade, which launches people up, including yourself. And it gives you charge back to your ultimate, which allows you to re-Hulk form. When you're in your Hulk form, you have a shield, you have 2 range targeted attacks, and then you're just a bullet sponge. And you have the ability to always charge a leap with your jump. And then, you can also hold a jump while you're moving around, so you can have one queued up. And then your ultimate is basically just a Mega Hulk form. You can see that here. It's pretty powerful, and then you can also use it as low health to have a quasi full heal, and it doubles your health pool too. So it's pretty fun. He's varied. He combos with Doctor Strange and Iron Man, so his team up abilities work with strong meta champs or heroes. So you're going to see him a lot. But he's fun. We're going to actually put him into A tier. Okay, next we have Cloak and Dagger. So I know in Silver and Bronze I've seen this hero a lot. I have not played it. I'm not a huge specialist fan, so I have less experience with her. But your ult, you have 3 rapid dashes. You can switch to cloak form, which you have a veil of darkness. You can teleport. But otherwise, you can launch daggers to create healing over time fields, and then you have a heal boost. So pretty generic kit. Good mobility. Can be hard to kind of lock down and attack in the back line. So I think there's pretty good power there. I don't personally like the kit. I have absolutely no desire to play this hero. So we're going to go with moderate to high B tier. Next we have Doctor Strange. His kit's pretty interesting. It's fun. I like it a lot. 2-star difficulty. You're going to see him a lot in competitive play. He is really strong. And he's also just a lot of fun. And he's a popular Marvel character too. So, and he has good team up abilities with Hulk and Iron Man. So your Q, I have Agamotto. It's a lot of fun to use. It's a good CC, holds people in place, allows your DPS or your duelist to really tear into people. It also has a large area effect, kind of like Jeff's, so it's pretty easy to land. And then you have your levitation, your shift, so then you can go up into the air. You can also fly around. It lasts for 10 seconds. Your E is a nice AoE ability for damage. F is, I'm sure you've seen clips of the portal. Super strong, long cooldown. I think it's almost 2.5, 3 minutes. Ton of replayability with that. And then your shield, your 800 damage shield that recharges. It's fantastic. It's one way, so your team can still put out damage. Really just an awesome hero and super strong. So he's going to make it into the S tier. Okay, and next we have Groot. I like Groot personally. I like the hero. I like the lore. Liked him in the movies. So you get a little boost from that. Just a little bit of bias. He has a really cool passive ability with his team ups. Jeff or Rocket can sit on his shoulders, so you have good mobility there, good options. The ability to bring the healers right to the front line of the fight. Your ult's really strong. It's fun too. It's super long CC, pulls people in. If you have good duelist AoE, you can really get some team wipe plays. You put the walls up with E and Shift, so you get some of the little Fortnite role play. It's fun. And then your V is just your melees, and Spore Bomb with your right click. Decent AoE grenade basically. It's fun. Not super strong, but it's unique. So he's gonna go high B. Okay, so next is Hawkeye. So you see the 4-star difficulty. It's basically all about hitting shots, true FPS experience. I'm not a huge fan of the hero just because, again, my FPS skills are questionable. But he is fun. I can see why people like him, and obviously he's super strong. You will get one tapped once in a while by him, or if you're using him, you can shred. You can shred. So there's a lot of fun to be had on him if you enjoy that play style. He also has a very strong knockback, so it's pretty fun. So because of that, I think there's a lot of volatility with Hawkeye. Essentially, all of your damage comes from hitting shots. You're going to have to go high A. Now we have Gila. So Gila, I've played at least half dozen games in competitive with, maybe a dozen. She is pretty fun. Essentially, you're only going to be spamming your left click, and she has the Raven form, which allows her to travel with her shift. Or Q, you arise, and then you launch down slow attacking AoE bombs, essentially, which it allows you to survive during your ult a little bit better. You get a new health bar, and it's also larger. So that's kind of fun. Her E, you try to stun people and then get a few headshots on them. It's okay. She's pretty unique, pretty fun, pretty cool animations. I like the kit. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the hero, but you're pretty strong. So I think we're going to end up putting her high B. Next we have Iron Fist. So I'm sure you've seen, he's also a great hero for making clips. He has a super insane chase down, whether it's on ground or aerial. He's full melee. He's got decent defense for what he is. Super fun to play. But I agree with the sentiment that he is kind of a pub stomper. Once people understand how to counter him, his power curve really drops off. But he's fun. I think it's a good play style to understand, to try out. I like his kit. It's fun. His ult is basically just, an empowered form of all of his other attacks. It's not anything unique on its own. So we're going to put Iron Fist middle of B tier. Okay, Iron Man, a lot of people's favorites from the movies and in-game. Very fun, pretty basic, straightforward kit. I like it. Obviously, you get to fly around consistently, and then you have a short-term sped-up version of the flight where you can launch missiles, which are pretty ineffective. Essentially, you're just using your blast and your beam, and then you're powering those up with your E. The alt is phenomenal. It's very unique in its power. It's one of the only abilities that can kill certain specialists through their alts. And it's also has great range, great AoE. It's just fantastic. It's fun to use. The hero's pretty fun. You also have, again, you have the Doctor Strange and Hulk team-up abilities. So you're going to see him a lot. He's fun to play. I would highly recommend him. It's pretty powerful. So in that case, Iron Man is going to go above Black Panther in the A tier. Next we have Jeff, 1-star difficulty. You either love him or you hate him. I'm definitely more on the hate team with Jeff. You can submerge into the terrain. You have good mobility with your shift. He's a super novel character. He's actually pretty fun to use. He's not fun to play against. He can actually 1v1. There's a lot of skill cap, I think, even with the 1-star difficulty, which is kind of ironic. The alt the alt is the character, right? Super insane AoE. You can swallow teammates and enemies. You know, I'm sure you've seen the strat. If you haven't, you alt, capture as many enemies as you can, take them off a ledge. You commit suicide in the process, but it allows full team wipes. It's super overpowered. So just for the alt alone, he earns, I would say, low B tier. And then the novelty and the character, if you like this style, and if you like healing, you know, he's going to go middle of B tier. So we have Loki, you have 4-star difficulty. I have not played Loki. I don't like the play style of placing essentially turrets down. You conjure likenesses of yourself or illusions, and it's pretty strong. Then you can heal yourself and your illusions. You can shapeshift into a targeted ally or enemy hero. It's kind of like Silas if you've played League of Legends in that effect, his ultimate. It's a pretty novel character. It's definitely unique. I just personally don't enjoy that play style, so I'm going to be ranking him a little bit lower, but he's pretty strong. Nothing crazy. You will see him a lot, though. He seems to be pretty popular and competitive, so he's going to get a high B. Luna Snow is next. She's pretty straightforward, pretty easily specialist. Super popular alt. It's very powerful AoE heal. They also get a damage boost at the same time. She can attach auras with her E for healing. When she heals others, you have a little ice freeze, which is a pretty strong AoE, honestly, for what it is and how easy it is to hit. I'm not a fan of the kit. I think it's pretty boring. It's strong though overall, mainly because of the alt and her movement. She's pretty popular. She's very strong overall too, and she has decent team up abilities. So you're gonna run into her in competitive. You're gonna have to figure out how to backline her. But we're gonna put her into about the middle of A tier. Next on the list is Magic. I actually really enjoyed this kit. Obviously, the character's pretty nice. It's fun. You have good mobility with your E, and you have 2 charges of your portal, which is your left shift there, stepping discs. You can summon demons that do AoE attacks after your shift, or you can do a large AoE swing yourself. The alt basically just enhances all of her other abilities, as it states. It's very fun. Seems to have a pretty high skill cap. Overall, it's decently strong as well. It's not going to be the meta pick, but I think there's enough variety to keep people engaged. So she's going to go the middle of A tier for myself. Okay, so next is Magneto. He's a Vanguard. I also have not played this hero a single time. Well, I've played him one time in all of my competitive games, which again is not insane, 12 hours. But he seems to be pretty strong with his alt. He has a wall for projectiles. He can shield himself. Does okay damage. It doesn't seem to be something where he really alters team fights or can 1v1. He seems kind of just like a fill pick. Unless you really like the character or the idea of just being kind of a middling bullet sponge, I don't think he's your pick. I don't see him that much in competitive, and I personally don't like the kid as well, so I think he's going to go C tier. And next is Mantis, 1-star difficulty. Seems to be a community all-star. I enjoy the kit a lot, even though it is a specialist and you're just basically a pure healer. You do have pretty good damage. You have a high rate of attack on your left click. You have good range on your heal. It's auto aim, so you don't have to worry about it like Jeff. You have a good sleep, strong. It's ranged, has a decent AOE, so you can reliably hit it. You can empower your own attacks with your F. You heal yourself when you heal others. You have high base movement speed. The alt is an amazing heal over time and movement speed boost. Super strong kit. You're gonna see her all the time. You're gonna fight her all the time. It's very hard to pin her down. You're gonna have to dive her. I like the kit. Very strong. So we're gonna put her into the S tier. We have Moon next, 3-star difficulty. Really cool character, real unique. You have good movement. Your alt opens a portal which drops down attacks. It's a good AoE. It's super strong. You have your Ankh, which is this little symbol we placed on the ground. It's good, really good for damage. If you see this and you're playing against him, you have to focus it. You just absolutely have to. You can go invisible with your team up ability. He's pretty fun. I can see why people enjoy him, and he is quite strong. I personally don't like the playstyle a whole lot. A little bit too pussyfoot, walking on eggshells, dip, dodge, duck, and dive type of gameplay. So I don't usually pick him, but I can see why people enjoy him. He's going to go high B. Next we have Namor. Pretty fun character, actually. I don't know if the community kind of shares that opinion, but you get to summon your little aquatic dominion, which is basically just an octopus. You can place it up on terrain. So there's some skill cap here, and you have your shield, and you can go into the air. The alt basically summons a flopping whale, which is kind of cool, but it's so easy to dodge if you're just paying any attention. I don't see him hardly ever, even in silver. I don't know, higher ranks, I don't think he has the skill cap or the variety in his kit to make up for it, to take into high competitive matches. So unless you really like the character, he's just a budget Aquaman, essentially. So unless you really like that idea or like summoning octopuses, I don't think you're going to want to go with him too much. So he's going to go into C tier. Okay, next we have Penny Parker. So this is a pretty interesting one. I have not played her more than one match, I think in quick match. So I'm not super familiar. I have played her a lot. I played against her a lot in competitive. She seems to be super popular. I know you can put the mines down. You have the wall crawl, cyber bond. The alt, basically just a massive empowerment in your mech suit, and you automatically deploy your other abilities, and you can launch enemies up as you run into them. Pretty strong. Seems like she doesn't have too much utility in team fights. I don't know. I could be more knowledgeable about this hero, but she's not an enigma. Pretty straightforward when you play her, or when you play against her. Maybe you like the aesthetic or just kind of that Vanguard play style. I could see someone enjoying this hero, but not for me personally. So she's going to go squarely into the B tier. Okay, and next we have Psylocke. So 5-star difficulty. Okay, I have not played her a single match in competitive or quick match, so I don't have a whole lot to speak to her on. You have stealth and a movement speed boost. Her alt is super powerful, and it's very hard to dodge. It's because it's a large AoE, and then she just dashes to people and basically one-taps them. So I would assume playing as that is pretty fun. You're going to want to, if you enjoy ranged gameplay, I think she could be a lot of fun. Also super high skill cap. Maybe you like the aesthetic. Again, personally, I'm not a overall massive fan of the kit. It's not bad, and it seems to be pretty strong. So we're gonna put her right into the bottom of A tier. So next we have the Punisher. He's essentially a unarmored space marine. If you know the Warhammer 40K series, he's pretty strong. He has his little turret that he can set up. It's pretty unique compared to a lot of the other heroes. Your alt, judge, jury, and executioner. It's pretty fun. Again, it's a very straightforward, basic, like just run and gun play style. If you enjoy that, I think you could enjoy this hero. But it's a little basic. I'm not a huge fan of the kit. He seems to fall over pretty easy. You can pin him down. Not a whole lot of mobility. It seems like the people who play him also aren't exactly the best players that you'll face. So for those reasons, he's going to go into the C tier. Now we have Rocket Raccoon, 1-star difficulty. He's pretty straightforward. He has the ability to slowly fall. What value is there in that? You know, take it or leave it for what you will. He can wall crawl. Not super impactful or that fun. He gets his little amplifier for damage boost, and you get infinite clips on certain other heroes when you're within range of his ult. He has a dash, and he does allow people to revive with a rebirth beacon, which there's some playability around that, some skill cap, timing. You know, I think the kit is pretty unique, but it's not super fun. He's not the strongest. You're gonna see him intermittently in competitive. I see him a little bit in silver, but not the best, not the most fun. He's gonna go into the top of C tier. If I can get it. Top of C tier. Into the top of C tier. Next we have Scarlet Witch. So, I have not played her a single match in competitive or quick match either. So I don't have a whole lot of information on her. I don't really see her that much in competitive. A little bit here and there. I know that her shift allows her to fly around. It's pretty easy to track. Seems like she's pretty easy to take down. Not a huge threat. The alt is very strong. You really have to pay attention to audio cues or visual cues to try to dodge that. But outside of her alt, seems very weak, and not unique enough of a kit to make up for it. So I don't have any interest in playing her. She's going to go into the C tier. Now we have Spider-Man. So we have 5-star difficulty. He is basically a living meme. I very rarely see him in competitive. I've played him a few times. There is a lot of skill cap. Absolutely insane for the character. But it's almost... The skill ceiling is so high as well that you have to hit very difficult combos to really have any impact on the match. And unless you like Spider-Man or the super high mobility gameplay, he's really not that fun. And if you really are looking to just have impact quick and just get onto a hero and start winning, that's not going to happen. So overall, I think he's generally weak. So he's going to go into the middle of C tier. Okay, and now we have Squirrel Girl. So there are a lot of things that are coming out of the community around this character in more ways than one. Pretty unique kit, pretty unique character. The alt is, again, novel. It's fun, but it's not very strong. It can ricochet and bounce so you can get more value out of that. But you have your bounce up, which is kind of nice. It's decent mobility, kind of a long cooldown. I think it's around 12 seconds. Um, you have really good damage output if you can hit your shots. The problem is her projectiles move very slowly, and if people are generally paying attention, you can be focused down pretty quick. Um, she seems to fall off pretty quick the higher ranks you climb, but she's fun. She's the kit's okay. It's fun, but you're not gonna it's not gonna change your life. So she's gonna go into the bottom of B tier. Okay, now we have Star Lord, or as some may say, Chad Lord. His alt is actually game changing if you have good timing. It's basically auto aim, aimbot, super fast fire rate, even more so than his base attack. And you can use your right click to reload, whether you're in your alt or not. So there's a lot of playability around that. It's pretty easy to hit your shots. His consistent damage is not fantastic, but you can get really good setups if the enemies cluster together. You can empty a clip, right click to reload, do that twice, and then dump the last clip, and then go in with your shift and then E for your AoE, and so you have super good burst if you get that combo off. It's pretty fun if you like the aesthetic or the character. Kind of a limited kit overall because there's so few actual abilities, but each one in itself is cool and synergizes well with the others. He seems pretty strong overall. You do see him a moderate amount in competitive from what I've seen. So he's going to go into the low end of A tier. Okay, now we have Storm. I have not played Storm. I have no desire to play Storm. I hear that she is also quite weak. I've seen that myself in the games I've played against her, which are quite few. I don't think she's very popular. She has a very strong alt. It is quite hard to dodge. It's good AoE. It's good speed. It's basically just a tornado storm, and it hits very hard. But outside of her alt, she seems super, super weak. She falls over, easy to pin, easy to disconnect from the team. I don't think most people are going to enjoy her. The kit's seems very boring. So I would kind of recommend you try her out. And then if you don't really like her, I would just avoid her. So for that reason, she's going to go into the bottom of C tier. One of my personal favorites is Thor. So I have played him a lot relative to the other heroes. He can be used he is a Vanguard officially, but he can play as a Vanguard or a duelist. You can have, two Vanguards and then Thor. It allows for some varied comps. Your Q, you inflict AoE damage and then you strike down. You move very slowly during it, but it has decent AoE. It's pretty easy to dodge if people are paying attention, so you really want to line it up with some CC from your team. Your left shift, you can hold it. It allows, and you can aim it up, down, and it's omnidirectional, so you get some good movement from that. You get some combo ability with your left click and the right click with your hammer throws, and they do damage on the return and the exit, so you can play around that. F allows you to go into a mode where you can throw your hammers. You get a maximum of 3 hammers. They're shown on the screen. They do recharge, so you want to be cognizant of how many you have, what you're using them on, because there's a global cooldown between hammer uses, so you can't just totally spam them out. It's a very fun hero. Obviously, the lore and the movies, so if you enjoy that, I think you'll enjoy the hero. I do see him moderate amount, not a ton, but he's pretty hard to take down. He's very strong in 1v1s if you're not in a totally open area. So I think there's a lot of skill cap to be seen with him. So I'm going to put him at the middle to low range of A. Okay, now we have Venom, 1-star difficulty. You see Venom a lot in competitive. He's in probably more than 50% of the matches. He has a pretty cool ult. Allows him to heal. He basically turns into an orca. He has very good movement speed. He has very good movement in general. He's hard to take down. It's no wonder people like him. Obviously, you have, again, the movies and the lore, and he's very popular, similar to Spider-Man. But because of Spider-Man and just his general aesthetic and playstyle, I'm not a huge fan. I don't like the kid. I don't like the character. So that's why I haven't played him, and I have no desire to play him. But I think if you enjoy those things, there's value here. But personally, I don't see it, and therefore he is going to go into low end of B. We have Winter Soldier, 3-star difficulty. This is a character that I really want to like and I want to play, and then every time I play him, it just falls short of my expectations. But I think there's a decent amount of skill cap here. You can get reloads off of using abilities, so he has a 3-shot clip with his gun. Decent fire rate, kind of a long reload speed, so you really want to focus on using those combos with your abilities. The abilities themselves, he has a hook, he has a charged up launch attack with his E, and then he has a lunging punch with his shift, which knocks people up as well. So you have a lot of ability to combo with him. But where it really separates is his ult. His ult has the ability to be super strong. You can chain it together. It's essentially an execute, and you'll get a little extra bar for where that range is on enemies. So he's actually very fun for that reason. But outside of his ult, he's a little lacking in power, and the abilities are a bit boring themselves. So for that reason, he's going to go into high C tier. And last but certainly not least, we have Wolverine. So Wolverine, if you've seen anything in the community for the game, he's either a love or hate, kind of like Jeff. He has very good mobility. His team up with the Hulk is really strong. He can be thrown, and then he has essentially, a flight form at that point. He's all melee. You have very good self-healing. It's all about diving and positioning and timing and killing isolated prio targets. He's fun. I don't love the kit though because it's so one-dimensional, but there's a lot of skill cap. There is a lot of variability, even though it is a basic, straightforward kit. And he's interesting. He's fun. But again, personally, not a favorite of mine as far as the lore character in general, but also just the play style. Power overall, I think you can climb with him, and especially if you kind of focus on him like one trick, I think there's a lot of potential there. So for those reasons, we are going to put him into the middle of B. So that's it. That's everything for the tier list. If you have any questions, post them down in the comments, or if you have any suggestions,